Good evening, students. Welcome to this session by Institute on paper 7A Enterprise Information System. And today we shall be talking about core banking system. And before I start the day today, I think there are two e-chocolates that we need to give for being so particular on time. So first we'll go to Hitesh. The bigger e-chocolate goes to Hitesh. I found he always logs in at least 2 minutes early to the class. And today we'll have another e-chocolate that goes to uh, Suvarnesh, if I pronounced it correctly. So you both get e-chocolates, Hitesh and Suvarnesh. Great. So being before time is key to success. Please understand. That is one thing that you must carry always in your life, being very particular on time. So that is going to help you a lot. So let us start today's session on core banking system. Again, we'll do a lot of practical on this. And now, as soon as this e-chocolate was distributed, so we have many more people have got there. So, but then the first has to go to Hitesh because he logged in first. Okay, let us start. Now, core banking system, as we know, as we understand. So please understand, looking at the chapter, what you basically look at your own experience of banking per se, how banking you have been doing. So what is the whole idea behind the chapter is you all deal at the front end. So you go to the bank. Just imagine. Okay, let me put this question. Let us start with the question today. In the chat, you answer that suppose you go to the bank to withdraw. I'm not saying going to an ATM. Okay, you are going to a bank and you want to say get a new checkbook issued, or you want to drop your stipend check in the bank drop box, or you want to withdraw cash in excess of 20,000 rupees. So when you withdraw this or make an application for a new checkbook or withdraw cash in excess of 20,000, because beyond 20,000 you need to withdraw it from bank, you cannot withdraw it from ATM. So I want you to write the steps. So what you do, give a heading, say for example you went to bank to withdraw cash in excess of 25,000 or 20,000. So what was the steps that you encountered, okay, or you were processed through? Take time. I'll read all answers. Okay. Then suppose you went to get a new checkbook issued in the bank. So what were the steps when the new checkbook was issued to you in the bank? Or those who have started articleship and during articleship you get stipend. So first stipend has to be credited to your bank account. So there is a chance that someone of you must have gone to open your bank account for the first time in a bank. So just write those steps. Take time, write the steps clearly, and what you will be writing, what you will be sharing is what we basically call, we'll be talking in the chapter itself, concept of front end of the banking. So what you are the customer and bank is the service provider. So your interaction is the front end. What you don't see is the back end. So this whole chapter is focused on helping you understand the more specifically the back end part, which all chartered accountants have to view. Audit. Now, because we are just at start of the second month of the financial year, May, first month of the financial year, April, most of the practicing chartered accountants across India are busy in an engagement that we all refer to as statutory bank branch audit. So when you go for a bank audit, then you basically go to the back end of the bank. And there are multiple audits that chartered accountants do. So one is statutory bank branch audit that generally chartered accountants do in the month of April. So one I have shared. So now you are answering two questions. First, your experience of doing a banking activity. It could be cash withdrawal. It could be new checkbook issue, passbook issue, or a new account opening. So write the steps first. Second, I have shared one type of bank branch audit that chartered accountants generally do in the month of April that we call as statutory bank branch audit. Please write any other bank branch audit, any other bank audit that you know by name, not necessarily as an experience, just by name. If you know, please write the same in the chat box section itself. Okay. So once you write, then I'll read your answers and then we'll learn what exactly we are looking into this chapter. So let us continue. Okay. Just two more updates was few of you have sent some written queries to the institute. So those queries relating to chapter 3. So most we did answer online more than once. But now because those are written, so I'll prefer giving a specific reply to all those queries. And today we are going to have MCQ at the end of the chapter. So I intently did it like this so that we have MCQ first and then we'll upload for all of you to view those MCQ. So we will be doing MCQ at the end of the session. These MCQ will be uploaded later on at the institute site where you can download them. Okay. Now see, during this discussion, I'll be referring to a lot of banking frauds. For good understanding, I'll be telling you, please go on, you are all online. So go on Google and read about these banking frauds. One thing I must have shared in the previous lectures, but because we are in the last part of this this whole 7A paper, so I'll request you that please start reading one English financial daily newspaper. It can be any English financial newspaper. You need not, if you are subscribed, you go to a library, please read at the library. If you are in a city where institute has a branch, there is a chance that the branch may be subscribing to that English daily newspaper. If you are able to subscribe at your home, please subscribe to a financial daily. And if you don't want to do it, online they are available. Please start reading Financial Express, financial newspaper. Financial Express is an example. Economic Times, Business Line, Business Standard. These are all newspapers. Please read these financial newspapers and get into habit of reading these financial newspapers daily. It is going to be of a great help as you go ahead in your CA studies. Please start doing it. It is going to be like the examples that I'm sharing. You have been listening to those examples. I have requested you to keep a note of the examples. Para 4 of our answer has to be a live example. So all these live examples come from these newspapers that I have been reading since last, I think, 30 years. Daily reading one English financial newspaper daily without fail. At least 1 hour reading daily. So that is the intensity that is needed to learn something very good. And see, because you are at inter level, you have a lot of time to get into this good habits. So please start doing it. Why I've shared that right now? Because if you start reading this financial daily, you have reports relating to your subject itself, like banking fraud, the slide we are looking at. Read that banking fraud. Try to understand the modus operandi. Try to understand what was the lapse, what was the system gap. Try to understand how auditors' role could have been much better in that whole scenario of activities. So I'll be talking about these frauds. Now, when I talk about these frauds, my basic intent is going to help us understand the system related issues. We are least interested in people involved in the fraud. Our core interest is in the system issues that led to those fraud. Okay. So this we are going to talk about today. Enterprise Information System, Core Banking System. Overview of banking service, components and architecture of core banking system. Very, very intensive chapter it is. Please understand. So that is why I've asked all of you to put your banking experience. That will allow us to crystallize the intensity of discussion we are going to have. The learning outcomes, understand the components, architecture of core banking system, the risk and the controls related issues, then functioning of the core modules and regulatory application to banks. So let us start from module. We want to see the diagram as given in our module. So just give me a second. I'll bring the diagram. I've got your feedbacks. I'll just read once we start discussing from this. At appropriate time, I'll share and read whatever all you have written. So here's the diagram from module itself. Chapter overview, banking services, components, architecture, working of a core banking system, the risk security policy controls, business process flow of key bank products. A very detailed discussion we'll have. Data analytics and business intelligence. Please understand, I've asked you that every day 15 minutes, you are going to find time to learn one Excel command. Now, because we have discussed that, say 2 days, 3 days back, and if any one of you has started learning that Excel command, you can always share that in the chat, which Excel command you started learning. Believe me, take my word, put yourself into this aspect, data analytics and business intelligence, and you'll have a phenomenally good experience post your qualification, post you become member, whether you go for practice or service or start or your own business, your capability of doing data analytics through technology is going to be of immense help. 15 minutes daily, one Excel command daily, we are going to learn. So today we are in 2022. So at least 2 years are there. 2024, May 2024, you will all become chartered accountants. So that is 730 days and 730 commands in Excel. Believe me, it is going to change your life phenomenally. Because we are online, I cannot share people the way they have been using this technique of data analytics through computer aided tools, but it is phenomenal. Then applicable regulatory framework within business process flow. This aspect we'll be talking about current account, saving account, credit card, mortgages, treasury operations, loans, and trade finance. So this is how we are going to look to the whole aspect. Now I'll go to your comments. Okay, so Almas Sheikh said that I went to the bank, took the form, filled and submit. Perfect. We'll take this as an example. See, whatever you're writing is already produced as flowchart in the chapters. So believe me, whatever you have written is already documented. So what Almas has said is documented in the chapter. The filling of the form. We'll come to that again. Okay, Amrit Palkar, she opened a new bank account, but then I wanted you to write the steps. Okay. Then approach teller counter, that is Himanshu. Step 2, give withdrawal slip to him. Withdrawal slip, if you have not seen, it is like a slip of from a checkbook, but it is available in the bank. If you don't have a checkbook issued to your account, then you can withdraw through a withdrawal slip. You have to fill the withdrawal slip. Then for withdrawing from withdrawal slip, you need to carry your passbook also. You fill it, you give it at the counter. And if withdrawal is more than 50,000 rupees, you have to give your PAN number also. Great, Himanshu. That is good. Then, okay, that audit I'll take later on. Chetna, Harshita, they have answered it. Then Himanshu, approach, may I help you counter? Good. Himanshu says, I approach the may I help you counter. So Himanshu's answer is taken. Jayan, for passbook, fill out, submit a form for your personal details, preferences in order to create an account, submit copies of personal documents, that is KYC, know your customers. Fill it manually, verify the document submitted with banker verifies your document with the original. So suppose you are giving your Aadhaar copy, the banker asks you to produce the original Aadhaar card. He or she verifies, the bank officer verifies, puts a seal verified from original, and then that document becomes part of bank's documentation process. Very good. See, whatever you are writing is already given as flowchart. That is exactly what I wanted you to. Through mobile also, you can generate a request for checkbook. In fact, that is exactly the change that has come. I'll be sharing, but thanks Ayush for writing it here. Just as an example, the bank, I have my saving bank account from when, say, you start 1st January 2020, and we are already more than 2 years. The COVID lockdown has been there. I have went to my branch only twice. 2 years only twice. And prior to lockdown, it was once in 3 years. That much automation is there in banking. So wherever I have my saving bank account, I am not going even once a year to my saving bank account branch. It's only some issue is there, then you go. That is not even once a year also. So it's a phenomenal change in the way banking is being done. Okay. Then Hitesh, first we complete the application form for issue of checkbook. Then manager asks us to provide the identity, Aadhaar card. Very good. The processing starts for issue of checkbook. After checkbook is issued, it is over. Yeah. Now, because see what banks have, that the checkbook which have your names printed on the right bottom, So you have to give an application in generally 7 days, 15 days. The checkbooks are delivered to your uh, address that is updated in your respective bank account. Very good. Then Hiral, provide my application for new checkbook. Go to bank clerk, collect it. Okay. So she had already given an application and went for collecting a new one. Pooja, steps to withdraw cash about 20,000. Get a withdrawal slip, fill in the, produce an ID proof. Very good. Get the amount needed. Okay. That is how it goes. Then very good. So now coming to, okay. Now I asked about the nature of audit. So we have two more answers. One by Chetna, other by Harshita. Other is concurrent audit. So we talked of statutory bank branch audit. Then there is a concurrent audit. Let me update more for you. Please carry these names. You'll always get good help from this. Bankers get for their borrowers something called a stock audit done. Then there is a concept of revenue audit. There is a concept of credit appraisal audit. So all these are part of the bank's audit. Okay, so multiple bank audits. Chartered accountants provide many such services to bankers. Then on Excel, yes. So few of you have said that you have started learning Excel. That is Jaspreet, Aetha. Okay, just and Manan, Rafiq Bhai Manan. Okay, great. So very good. Please start reading, doing Excel. Okay, don't worry, Prabhas. It was basically learning. Okay, so if not read it, so if though, see there are two categories of students we have. There is a chance that few of you are doing articleship and you have already experienced bank audit, and second category will be those who are doing articleship but not done bank audit, and third will be those who have not started articleship. So it is going to help all of you. Okay, so whatever we are going to discuss, please carry. I'll share that this one thing you need to look in your audit also. It is going to be of a great help. So that is introduction to this basic chapter, core banking system. Now, before we go ahead, please understand there is a very important word in this three terms, that three words we are using. So banking system is a system that is being used by a bank. Core. So core means basically remember it as a centralized banking system, where all banking operations of the bank are through a common software, that is you call as core banking system. In India, there are generally three types of core banking system which are used. They are Finacle. Most of the public sector bank use Finacle, that is by Infosys. Another is Banks 2000, that is by TCS. And third is FlexCube. It is by a company called as iFlex that has been acquired by Oracle. So these are the three most used banking softwares which you call as core banking system. You can also call them banking ERPs. You know, chapter 3 banking, you read about ERP. So you can say this as banking ERPs also. So this is how you look at these chapters. Great, Prabhas. So please, those who are doing Excel, what I want you to learn one command daily. Get an experience on one new command daily. Yeah, Finacle is a banking software by Infosys, Mukta. Yeah, very good. So Shinjani has talked about three more very critical commands. Okay, H lookup, V lookup. Very good. Keep learning. Thank you. Let us go to the PPT. Okay. Now, what I have done, I have divided the whole chapter in main topics because lot of it's a ladder based process. So from top, then second layer, third layer. So for ease of discussion and remembering, I've divided the whole chapter in its parts. So I call the basic parts as main topics. So the whole chapter is for 6 main topics that include overview of banking services, related IT risk and controls. Then second is component and architecture of core banking system. Third is core banking system, risk, security and controls. Fourth is core banking system, core business processes, relevant risk and controls. Fifth is reporting system and MIS, data analytics and business intelligence. And last is applicable regulatory and compliance requirements. So the 6 main topics from the chapter. Let us take their subtopics also. Okay. Within the first main topic, overview of banking services, we'll have an introduction, overview of banking service, overview of core banking service, and core features of core banking service. That is main topic 1. So it's topic 1, 2, 3, 4 within first. Then main topic 2, component and architecture, we'll be talking about CBS, IT environment, technology component, functional architecture, how actually it behaves like. Internet banking process, e-commerce transaction processing, your chapter 4 you have already done. Case study on deployment and implementation of core banking. Please understand, I've told you that this 7A is going to create professional opportunities. We have talked about in chapter 3. And now the last topic 7 is what you can implement. You can implement core banking system for a bank once you become chartered accountant. Phenomenal experience. Then main topic 3, core banking system risk, security and control, risk associated with CBS, concept of security policy and internal control systems in bank. Main topic 4, core business processes, relevant risk and control. So this will be a very specific discussion on 4 processes. This is the part that you have already answered. The flow you have shared now, this is documented in the module. So we'll just take 1 or 2 flowcharts to tally the way you have written. Okay. So current account, saving account operations, credit card operations, mortgages, treasury, loans and trade finance. We'll take it one by one as they come about. And main, the 5th topic, reporting system, MIS, data analytics and business intelligence. The risk prediction, the concept of Basel 1, 2, 3. What is Basel? Basel you have been reading. I want you to tell, like those games we used to play in as childhood. In fact, in COVID Corona first phase, we played lot of games. So suppose I say Basel. So Basel is what? Please try to answer that. Okay. Then, so this is to be phenomenal topic, the data analytics, business intelligence. Okay. And last is applicable regulatory and compliance requirements, the technology impact on bank, the money laundering, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, cyber crimes and Banking Regulation Act. Again, we'll have a deep discussion on each of this. So we want to start the first part. So this is how the whole chapter looks like. So it's deep, dig in, like from top you start going to the bottom. That is how you look at. One of the queries that you have asked that I want to respond in written is one of the concept of audit trail. So this is exactly what is audit trail, from top to bottom. So you look from the top and then you start getting deep into it. That is how the whole chapter is devised and written. Okay. So main topic, their topics, we need to keep track of all so that we don't miss. Okay. So now, because we are starting the first part of the chapter, let us see if we have any query to answer. Okay. So there is a different query here. Internet penetration, I'll answer during the discussion. I'll answer. Okay. So let us continue. Now, see the way technology has changed. The example that I gave, that it has been not, suppose my bank account, the saving bank account I have is with the bank that I have is say more than 30 years now. Believe me, I have not gone to my bank branch 30 times in 30 years. That is less than one time, 1 year. That much technology innovation has been brought to banking services. So information technology is integral aspect of functioning of enterprise and professionals in this digital age. In case of banking, which deals with money, it has now increasingly become digital, and IT plays a very critical role. So please understand, I did talk about this word, that you start imagining the integration of technology to business. And then we created examples, and you also answered this question, that there are organizations which are going to stop working if technology is not working. And bank is one example that you all gave, that suppose bank, the server is down or the network is down, the bank branch is not able to work. Why? Because the level of integration to technology is so high. Banking is an engine of economic growth, specifically in rapidly developing country like ours, and we have phenomenally grown. Our technology deployment is much better than many countries across the world, and at our digital usage, I don't know whether you know it, the digital payment that we are having is already going beyond much of the developed countries in terms of the usage by population. Banking operations have changed fundamentally over last 25 years, and you please add a line, it has been revolutionized over last 5 years, the way we have been doing banking. I'll be sharing some more revolutions on the banking sector as they are coming. Then what banking services banks provide? So this discussion, the example that I asked you to write was basically looking at this. So once we complete this overview of banking service, then I look to your chat answers. So now within main topic, we have topic, and within that we have subtopics. So that was the reason I thought that let us have some way of remembering this whole chapter. So overview of banking services include what banks do, acceptance of deposits, granting of advances, remittances, collections, clearing, letter of credits and guarantees, credit debit cards, other banking services. And now you can write a word that is used today is called as bank assurance. So what is happening? Banks, if you see the private insurance companies, most of insurance companies are joint ventures, and of all the private insurance company which are joint ventures, one of the joint promoter of that insurance company is one public sector bank or a private sector bank. So banks have gone into insurance also. So that is that because they are providing additional services, that is why this last subtopic 9 becomes very important. Other banking services, which include bank assurance, bankers providing insurance service. We'll be talking more on this. It's a very evolving topic, and it has already become very big. Okay. So these are the main services which bankers provide. Let us take one by one. I think you know deposits, so I'll not discuss them out. I will only have question for you to answer. Okay. So deposits, we know. Deposits involve deposit by customers in various schemes. Commercial bank accept deposits in various forms like term deposit, saving deposit, current account deposit, recurring deposit, saving term deposit, and some innovative products. So my question to you is, please try to answer this. Saving bank deposit is a demand deposit or a time deposit. Demand deposit means, suppose I have a saving bank account in my bank. So demand means as soon as I go to the bank and I want my money back, bank will have to pay. Time deposit means if I have deposited an amount in the bank, then I'll get the amount after a specified duration. So that is time deposit and demand deposit. So saving bank deposits are demand or time? First question. Second question is, term deposits are demand or time. So you can say SB, D/T, TD, D/T. So you are answering two questions. Saving bank is demand or time deposit. Term deposit is demand or time deposit. Answer the question, which is going to help us discuss a few things later on. So I think deposits, we all know. A third question. So 3 questions on this slide. You are answering saving bank, whether it is demand or time. Term deposit, whether it is demand or time. And deposits as a total value, it is going to appear on asset side of the bank or liability side of the bank. When you prepare balance sheet of the bank, so deposits will be appearing on asset sides or liability. So 3 questions we need to answer: saving bank demand term, term deposit demand term, and whether this bank deposits is on the asset side or liability side of the bank. Okay. Then granting of advances. So whatever deposits bank get, it gives advances. And then when it gives advances, we become borrowers of the bank. So it has hundreds of way of giving advances. The way the core has been brought here. Okay. So it can be multiple types. Bank can give advances in many types. Cash credits, overdrafts, purchase bill of discounting, purchase oblique discounting of bills, term loans, commercial papers, external commercial borrowing, KCC, Kisan Credit Card, Mudra Yojana, personal, and the list, I think it has to go to the next slide. No, the list is endless. You can add then within term loan, commercial loan, retail loan, housing loan, education loan, vehicle loan. Imagine, add to the list. You can all do it. So these are the types of advances which the banker is giving. So fourth question on these two slides. So I asked you, deposits will be on the asset sides or the liability side. Now you answer, advances will be on asset side or liability side. So four questions for all of you to answer. Okay. I'll be asking lot of questions. Means we'll be doing some MCQ at the end of the chapter, but we must have done much more than those MCQs during discussion also. Okay. Then remittances. Transferring money. Remittance, transferring money. Remittance involve transfer of fund from one place to another. Now this old mode of transfers, I think to what I know, probably this demand drafts and telegraphic and mail transfers, they must be existing. They do exist, but the volume from say 10 years back to today, the volume has phenomenally reduced. The percentage of usage of these tech has reduced phenomenally. Now you have got this concept of EFT, electronic fund transfer. So there are three ways where electronic fund transfer is done. RTGS, that you call as real-time gross settlement. NEFT is called as new electronic fund transfer. IMPS, I want you to tell what is the full form of IMPS. So 5 questions on 3 slides. You have to tell me what is IMPS. Now, see, so fund transfer, like just as an example, say many practicing chartered accountant, including us, 100% of all, more than 95% of all fees we get is through NEFT. The balance 5% we get is through check. That means, see, this new mode of the transfer is the most used. All payments are made NEFT. So, new electronic fund transfer, real-time gross settlement. So, these are new modes of remittances, new codes of remittances, you can say. I want you to tell what is the full form of IMPS. Then, collections. So, we'll complete this and then we'll go to the answers. Okay. So, after collection, I'll give you the answers. Collection involves collecting proceeds on behalf of customers. Customer can lodge various instruments, like when you go for articleship and you are getting paid by check. So you deposit the check. So that is collected by the bank on your behalf. Now, because you have this new fund transfer technologies, electronic fund transfer and real-time gross settlement, the volume of collection services has been reduced for per se, but then suppose your business is like this. Just imagine. Okay, let me put this question to you. I have a business. So you answer this question, and by the time you answer the question, I'll go to the balance question. Given an option, or imagine me doing business, I give 2 options, cash and digital payment. I am the promoter of the business. I have 2 options to get payment from customers, cash payments and digital payments. Suppose I decide that I will only have one. Either it will be 100% cash or 100% digital. From control perspective, which one is riskier? So what question you are answering? That for a business that is following cash collection as a methodology and a business that is allowing only digital payments for collection, which business has more risk on the collection aspect? Okay, you answer the question. This is a very good point that we want to discuss on this slide. By the time I have asked many questions, let us go to your answers. Okay. So we have answer on Basel. Please understand, Basel is a town in Switzerland, and all central bankers of the world. So, like our central bank is Reserve Bank of India. The governors of all central bank of India, central bank of the world meet at Basel, and then they make a evolution of the way world economy is doing, what are the risks which are coming to world economy, and then decide this norms to regulate banks across the world. Because these norms are created in Basel, the town in Switzerland, you call it as Basel 1, 2, and now the latest norm is Basel 3. Okay. So that is the answer that I expected. Yeah, e-banking is good advantage. Then Rishabh has said saving bank is demand deposit. Correct. Prabhas, saving bank demand. Rishabh, I've got that. Chetna, saving bank demand, term deposit time. Very good. Okay, Ashram, I'll answer the question. Just ping me when I go to that part of bank guarantee. Please ask the question again if I miss that. Prabhas. Yeah. Then Saipa Virli. Okay. Saving bank is demand and time is, yeah. And yes, deposits will be shown on liability. Very good. So that is good. Then Kaveri, deposit is liability. Siddhant, saving bank is demand and time deposit is term deposit is time. And Siddhant, it is liability of the bank. They have to pay it back. Hitesh, saving bank demand term. Okay, very good. So time deposit. Hitesh, deposit is liability for a bank. They have to pay it back. Okay. Deposit liability side because very good. That was Pooja. Then okay. Mukta, saving is demand deposit. Yes. Okay, great. So that is correct. Raghavan, demand deposit, demand. Everyone is correct. Okay, good. And I look to the yes. So the next question was advances is assets. Yes. Prabhas, advances is assets. Great. Hitesh, advances is assets. So it was, you got that idea. So because bank has to repay deposits, it becomes liability. And bank when give it advances, it wants to recover back from you, it becomes asset. Okay. That is why you, if you have not read in bank, in your audit or bank audit, there is this word called as non-performing assets. So that is basically classification provisioning of asset side, non-performing advances. That is asset sides of the balance sheet of the bank. Okay. The chat has refreshed, so just waiting for it. Okay. So now, so given this option of cash collection and digital payment, cash has more risk. Now, what happens? This cash collection services are exactly what? So I'm trying to create a background to this. Where does it come? If it comes to, okay, it's back. Chat is back. So we had gone till, yeah. And advances is liability. So now most of you have served correctly. Good. Yeah, now full form of IMPS, immediate payment service. Great. That is Siddhant, Prabhas, then Monica. Yes. So Hiral. Yes. So now you have all answered correctly. Fantastic. Advances, asset side and IMPS, immediate payment segment. Good. So, okay. Then we have a question by Ayush. Ayush, ask the question. I'll tell you. Securitization of credit sales. I'll tell you how. Very good. Saving bank. Great. Most of advances assets. Great. Yes, cash collection is risky. There we were. We have already made 100. Good. So we are batting fast at 220 slog hours. Very good. 125 is our score right now. So cash is risky. Now, what has happened? Imagine this, you go to remote places and you find petrol pumps in remote places, remote jungles. So the risk of theft is very high. So those businesses where cash collection is still very large, the nature of businesses is that the cash is generated. These businesses take help of bank for cash collection services. So what happens? The cash van which is secured that goes to that point of the customer or the borrower, collects cash in a secure mode. So these services are still being provided. So this is exactly what is cash collection services. It's a very value-added service provided by the bank. And the top ones, this check collection and dividend and checks. Now, as over a period of time, this electronic fund transfer has evolved. So these services do exist, but their volume has gone very low today. Next, clearing. So the check you deposit drop, that goes to clearing. Collecting instruments on behalf of customers of the bank. The next two words are important: electronic clearing system, the concept of ECS debit and ECS credit. Let us read them. So ECS credit is, you define this relationship. How you define this? From that database chapter we talked about in chapter 3. This is what relationship. For I'm giving the hint. We talked about hierarchical database, network database. One of you did give a detailed explanation to the relationship that they create. So ECS credit. So mutual funds, they are customers, so they deposit. So that is ECS credit. What you are saying, defining in terms of chapter 3. So we can always link. See, they are these chapters are part of the same paper, so they have to be linked together. So I want you to link this one to chapter 3. Then you can have common examples for both. ECS debit, company paying dividend. So you have two more questions to answer. ECS credit is what type of relationship in database chapter 3? ECS debit is what type of relationship for database in chapter 3? Okay. We read the whole subject together. Okay. Then next, you answer, then we'll discuss. Letters of credits and guarantee. Now, because we had a query by someone, see this topic, letters of credit and guarantee, and the previous one where we talked about advances, there is a fundamental difference that I want you to tell. So third question. Okay, good. Jasprit, you have put a very good question. I'll answer that. Now, what I basically want you to tell me, what is the fundamental difference between the subtopic on advances and this letter of credits and guarantee? These are also in nature of advances. Cash credit, term loan, those are also advances. These are also in nature of advances. What is the core difference? So you have 3 questions now to answer. ECS credit chapter 3 link, ECS debit chapter 3 link, and what is the difference between letter of credit and guarantee? So let me explain this here. See, advances per se are what those cash credits and term loans we talked about. Those are classified as fund-based advances. Fund means where bankers' money is involved on day one. These nature of advances are non-fund based. Non-fund based means where banker on day one, banker does not commit any cash into this. So these are referred to as non-fund based advances. Letter of credits and guarantee. What is the difference? Now, so advances are fund based, these are non-fund based. Because I understand letter of credit you must have read from CA Foundation, from 11th, 12th Commerce, in CA Inter, bank itself. Who is the author of letter of credit? There are 2 parties, just understand, a buyer and a seller. Who is the author of letter of credit? Who writes letter of credit? Okay. So try to answer this question. Let us go ahead. So I think, yeah, you have responded on the chat. Let me read. So now funded and non-funded. So 2 questions are pending. Then collections, because someone is paying me a check. So I drop that check in the Dropbox. So bank provides that collection services. So collection services let me do it through a good example. Say suppose there is a dealer and who is making motors, okay, or a manufacturer who is making motors, and manufacturer has say motor pump or power pump that person is doing, and manufacturer has dealers all across India, and those dealers are making payment through check. So what bankers do, they go to each dealer of that manufacturer and collect checks. So those becomes collection service. Collection, basically collecting money on behalf of customer. Mode can be you can collect check, you can collect cash, like that. So these are collection services. Someone asked about ECMS, that is e-cash management services. Okay. Now, then, Saipa, okay, so let me do it. See, this concept has to be understood by us. So Saipa has tried to answer that, and Himanshu has also tried. Let me bring it to you. Generally, when you talk of letter of credit, it is used in import-export. That is true, but it is not restrictive. Please understand, letter of credit can be used within India also. Generally, do it through import-export. The reason is the core part of the letter of credit. Now, suppose I am seller of the product and you are buyers of the product. I am in India and you are, say, outside India. Now, I want to sell my product. I have not met you. I have not seen you. Or probably I must have seen on video conferencing, that Meet or Zoom, whatever the case may be. But I don't know the credibility of you. Whether if I sell my products to you, whether I'll be receiving payment from you, I'm not assured. So what I do, I am the seller and you are the buyer. I ask you, you get me a letter of credit. You means who? The buyer. So the buyer goes to his banker or its banker, buyer's banker. Okay. There the buyer goes and asks the banker to issue a letter of credit in my favor. My means seller. So banker says, okay. So banker writes, this letter of credit is being issued for buyer in favor of seller. What is written in it? It says that if buyer does not pay for the product within 3 months, 6 months, as the case may be, the payment will be made by banker. So that banker pays me. So I am assured. So the core author of the letter of credit will be buyer or buyer's banker. Who is the beneficiary, seller or seller's banker? First. Second, non-fund based, because the day banker wrote that letter of credit for buyer, did bank give some cash? No. Was bank's cash flow hit? No. That is letter of credit. Okay. Then letter of guarantee. Now see, this letter of guarantee is, it is basically tripartite agreement. How does it work? So that I am sharing with you. Okay. It's a tripartite agreement. And how does it work? I'm using NHAI, National Highway Authority of India, as an example. So all these national highways are being made. So many companies are making it. Now, NHAI has a benchmark agreement that whatever road you construct, it has to be operational for 3 years, and the road contractor is going to be held liable for 3 years operation maintenance of the road. But to ensure that the road contractor is forced to ensure the working of the road, NHAI says that we want a guarantee for you. So guarantee means, say NHAI says we want 100 crores guarantee. The road project is 1000 crores, 100 crores has to be given as guarantee, that if the road doesn't go as required, then this 100 crores will be penalty confiscated by NHAI. Now, the option is that the road contractor deposits 100 crores with the NHAI, but then if road contractor deposits 100 crores with NHAI, contractor's cash flow will be hit, and he or she or it, the contractor, is going to lose interest. So a third party agreement is done. This road contractor goes to his banker or its banker, requests a banker to give a letter of guarantee favoring NHAI. So banker writes a letter of guarantee favoring National Highway Authority of India, that whenever NHAI comes to the banker with a conclusion that the road is not proper, this 100 crores that is available with the bank as fixed deposit will be given to NHAI. This 100 crores fixed deposit is made by whom? The contractor. Did the banker's cash flow was hit? It was not hit. So it is non-fund based. Good. So now to the other questions I asked. Buyer's bank. So most of you answered correctly. Yeah. So ECS credit and debit, I wanted you to link it to one to many and many to one. So ECS credit is many to one. So many people contributing to mutual fund. ECS debit is companies paying dividend to one to many. And relational is good. So relational database we can always carry. Yeah. They all follow. Yes, Hiral. The basic database, relational database or object oriented as the case may be. I wanted this comment on many to one and one to many. So if you look to the diagram, you get example for that chapter also. Great. Let me see if we have a query. Someone has answer. Then credit cards. So we all know about credit cards. There is a detailed discussion we are going to do in a procedural aspect for credit cards. So there's a credit card issuing company, Visa, Master MX, and now Indian Rupee credit card. In fact, government of India has been promoting and Rupee credit card is growing like anything. So and someday Rupee will be uh, in competition with Visa and Master, which are the largest credit card issuing companies. We all know how they operate. No, it is same. Ashram, they are same. Bank guarantee, letter of credit, a letter of guarantee, same. Thank you. So these are credit card issuing companies. Then because we'll be talking more on the process as we go ahead in the chapter, so we are not putting more time here. Same way we have debit cards. So we all know the only core difference in debit and credit card is debit card will be linked to your bank account. So whatever payment you do through debit card, it will immediately debited to your bank account. Credit card, you get a credit period for payment to the bank, the issuer bank who has given you the credit card. That is the core difference. Other banking services, very, very, very important. So other banking services, it is slide one. So probably we'll have more one. Retail banking. Now see what has happened. I'm using a word from your chapter 7B. That is paper 7B, strategic business unit. So what has happened? Banks have evolved. Banks realize that for special category of customers, they need to create special banking. So many banks have opened special branches, which they call as retail branches. Retail branches means where this personal loan, housing loan, vehicle loan, education loan are given. So retail banking, a focused banking area. The next is very important, HNI, high net worth individual account management by the banks. Okay. So they are doing network banking, net worth HNI banking. So these people who have a lot of money, so investment services, wealth management services are being provided by bank to these people. Then specialized services, loans, underwriting of public issues, life insurance, non-life insurance. We have already talked about it. So these are, this I used the word bank assurance. Additional business opportunities banks are creating for their own self. That is life insurance, non-life insurance. These services they are adding. Then, how does the whole system work? So now we are because changing a topic. So let me see if we have any queries here. But I'm waiting for. Okay, we have answered that. So the core characteristics of core banking system, the vendors and key modules. So we'll take it one by one. So I'm taking diagram from module page number 512. So let us go to the module page 5.12. So key modules of core banking system, which includes, so I asked that question, what is the process? So, what was the core? That you are all basically front end. Okay. So when you go to a bank, so many of someone, I think Ayush said that now you can get a checkbook issued from mobile banking. So you are basically, as a customer, our dealing with the bank is what part? The front end part. This whole module and chapter is basically there to help you learn the back end part. So how from front end you go to the back end. So that linkage is important. Okay. Okay. So underwriting is a word someone has asked. I'll explain. Mail transfer. It is I'll have to just redo it because now mail transfer you don't do it. Okay, let me try to do it. This. So I'm answering these two queries. One is on mail transfer and another is on underwriting. So first, let me conclude this one. Key modules you have gone through. So back office, then this data warehouse, credit card system, ATM switch, the central server, and this is what you are dealing with, the front end. Okay. So our dealing is at the front end. Okay. Let us go back to the PPT. Yeah. Now the query. So underwriting is basically in this IPOs you have. So there are merchant bankers and underwriters. So like LIC IPO is there. So underwriting is giving an assurance, acting as a merchant banker, that if the IPO is not subscribed, we as merchant bankers are going to subscribe. So that is underwriting. Okay. Giving an assurance like that in share issues. So that is again a very specialized service bankers are providing. So that is Hemant. Then mail transfer. Okay, Ayush. So I need to give more examples on mail transfer. I don't know whether you know this. Money order was a word that was used. So sometime, say 10 years back, if you wanted to send, or 20 years back, 10 is too early, 20 years back, you wanted, say, like many people work from outside their states. People are working in big metros and they need to send money to their families and elders in a remote village. So how you send? 20 years back, there was no mechanism. So 20 years back, to send money, our postal department provided the service of money order. So with some very nominal charges, suppose I want to send 1,000 rupees to a small town in a remote village in India, and I'm working in metro. So from Mumbai, I will go to post office, give the full detail where I want to transfer the money, physically give 1,000 rupees. Bank, the post office will have some commission, 10 rupees or 20 rupees on that 1,000 rupees. I give that 1,000 rupees to the post office person. The money in 15 days / 30 days is sent, and post office has its way of sending money. It doesn't physically transfer. They do it that time through their own channels. So the post office in Mumbai is going to transfer that money. It will travel multiple stages and reach the remote village where I want to give that money to my elders, my parents. The postman of that village will go to the house and he will carry that money order slip along with the cash. He will give the cash to the intended person, take an acknowledgement, and that acknowledgement will come back to me after 15 days. So transferring money would take 15 to 30 days like that. That was 20 years back. The same thing to be done in bank. So mail transfer. So you do it in a bank, mail transfer, MT. Now, as technology came, so now banks, there was no physical movement of cash. From one branch of the bank, you transfer it to the other branch, other account in a different branch. So you can do it through mail transfer. That was it. Real time is as we do now. That is real time basis. Okay. So as soon as you withdraw, like you go to an ATM, you withdraw 1,000 rupees from an ATM. Immediately, your banker gives a SMS to your mobile that 1,000 rupees have been withdrawn from this and this ATM of this and this bank on this card number. That is real time, immediate updates. Like we talked about this batch processing, collection of so occurrence of transaction and its process. The gap is there. that you call as batch. You don't call that as real time. Otherwise, most of the transactions today are real time. Okay. These are the key modules: back office, data warehouse, credit card system, ATM, central server, internet banking module, and mobile banking. So these are all banking services which are there, key modules which bank is working through. Okay. Then phone banking, you can do phone banking through what they call as IVRS, voice recognition system. Then branch banking, you physically, the example that I talked to you was basically when you go to a branch, how you do it. So now this is important. The two words on the slide are very important. Please carry these words. Any day they are going to help you a lot. Okay. So internal of this manual documentations for capturing data, like the withdrawal slip you said. So that withdrawal slip is physical. So it is captured in system. So all this source document capturing is done at branch level. Then authorizations are there. They have got a concept of beginning of the day transactions and end of the day. This is very, very, very important. Whatever audit you do, please keep a tag of these two terms, BOD and EOD, more specifically end of the day transactions, because at the end of the day, the last line of the slide is generated, error reports, exception reports are generated, which auditor needs to review. So this is very, very, very important. Which part? The beginning of day and end of day transactions. Okay. Virtually redundant, Rajiv. Yes. Mail transfer is redundant. Yes. Then core features of core banking system. So I think the word came from here, online real-time processing. Please understand, online real-time is that as soon as you, like the example I gave, carry this example. It's a good example that as soon as you withdraw 1,000 rupees from ATM of a bank, immediately you get a message on your mobile along with the amount withdrawn and along with the balance left in your account. This is real time. Real time is basically what? That as soon as you do the transaction, the updates are there. The actions are there. These are online real time. If it is not online real time, then what it is, you call it as batch. What is batch? Batch is the time of occurrence of the transaction and its update. There is a time delay that you call as batch. Like we talked about this batch process. So this NEFT, RTGS, the example we are taking, these are process on an hourly or bi-hourly basis, 2 hours or 1 hour. So all NEFTs to be done are collected in the bank and then they process together. That is. Then transactions are posted immediately. Yes, immediate posting online. That is part of online real time. Database is updated immediately. Yes, you can take a hint from this that what happens as soon as you withdraw an amount from ATM. Suppose you have withdrawn 1,000 rupees. After withdrawing 1,000 rupees, the balance left in your account is, say, for example, 4,000 rupees. The bank's norm says that any account in the bank must have minimum 5,000 rupees as balance. So as soon as, so what has happened? 1,000 withdrawn from ATM, you get a message. 4,000 is a balance, you get a message. And because system is so interrelated, immediately you get another message, say 1 minute or 2 minutes after, that your account balance is less than the minimum balance required. That is updated to database immediately. You get a response generated from system. Then centralized operation, we started the chapter with the definition of core banking system. Centralized banking system. All operations are centralized. Operations are centralized means the core servers, the core computers, the core database, they are all centralized. Just for your knowledge sake, please don't remember, for knowledge sake, 25 years back when this core banking system was brought and implemented, there were a lot of teething trouble, but then it achieved its success. Before that, there was a system called as TBA, Total Branch Automation, TBA. So that time, every branch had its server, every branch had to take its backup. Every branch manager had to have a backup drive, and it was a phenomenal exercise. But now, because core banking system is there, so these activities at branch level are redundant. Now everything is done at centralized level. So all operations are centralized. The database is centralized. Operations are centralized. Core servers are centralized. Okay. Then separate hierarchy for business and operation. Now, because lot of servers are there, dedicated servers will be reading name of all those servers. So the way bank is doing business and the way it is operating, they are segregated. Services are, yes, converted into deliverable commodities or productized. What it means, bank like this, I talked about saving bank and fixed deposit, time deposit. Now, banks have got special innovative products that they call as flexi saving bank account. So flexi saving bank account is what? That if your account has say balance more than 50,000, every time it crosses 50,000, bank is going to convert 25,000 into a fixed deposit automatically. So what happens? You get higher rate of interest on fixed deposit. So these, because of technology, you are able to deliver better services to your customer. That is creating commodity out of customers. Remote interaction. In fact, during COVID, we all saw those TV advertisements where you could open a bank account during COVID lockdown without physically going to the branch. I am telling you that I have not gone to my branch 30 times in a year since I have my saving bank account in that specific bank. Remote interaction with customers. So now it is online video calling. Lot of advertisement we have seen during COVID. You open a bank account without going to the bank. That is. And also transaction balancing, because it is system driven, so it has to be there, part of the system. Very, very, very important. Highly dependent system based controls, because now everything is technology driven, everything is system driven. So you need to ensure that whatever controls have been put in place in system are working properly. Very, very, very important. Authorizations occur within application. It's online, real time. In fact, I was waiting someone, when you give that withdrawal slip. So I thought, see, as a chartered accountant, if I say SA 500, okay, that is SA 500. Okay. So you answer, what is the name of this standard? Now within that standard, there is a audit evidence collecting technique. One of the audit evidence collecting technique is observation. So because I thought you are all doing chartered accountancy and studying, see, like 15 minutes daily Excel command, you get into the word observation. You start observing the transactions as they are happening. None of you said it, so I am sharing this like this. Many of you said you gave a withdrawal slip. Now, you know what happens once you give the withdrawal slip at the cash counter? The cashier gives that withdrawal slip, physically the withdrawal slip, or keeping it in a booklet, to officers sitting nearby. So there is the cashier's whole kiosk is reasonably grilled and guarded, but there is a small window. So from that window, the cashier puts that withdrawal slip near to the officer. Officer validates your bank balance. Officer validates your signatures from your bank account, authorizes the withdrawal slip, gives it back to the cashier, and then the cashier gives you money. Authorization occurs within the application. So when cashier takes withdrawal slip, cashier gives you that token, he creates a request. Who authorizes the request? Officer nearby. So I wanted someone to comment observation. Now next time you go, observe it happening. That it may not be for your check. Someone else must have given a withdrawal slip. Just see what happens to the withdrawal slip. So everything is done in system. That is. Then increased access by staff at various levels based on authorization. Okay, that is if like the example I have given. So what banks have done, banks have authorized cashiers. Few banks have authorized cashiers to give 10,000 rupees without seeking second authorization from the officer. So if the withdrawal slip is not more than 10,000 rupees, immediately cashier gives you, because he has been authorized. That authorization level you can create. Suppose withdrawal slip is for 1 lakh rupees. Cashier cannot authorize. It has to be authorized by whom? The officer. So you can create delegation, what you call is delegation of power in system. Then, yes, this is very, very important. Next time when from your office 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., when you go to your home and you find a bank branch late, 8 p.m., and if the bank branch is open and lights are lit, believe me, the branch manager is going to be mandatorily sitting in the bank. You know what he is going to do? There is some issue in the trial balance of the day. Bankers create daily trial balance. Their trial balance has to tally daily. That is daily, half yearly, annual closing. If it is done daily, it has to be done half yearly and yearly also. Then, automatic process of standing instruction. What is standing instruction? So, because few words are used, so I'm explaining. Okay, so we can all learn. Standing instruction is that on due date, suppose you have taken housing loan and 10,000 rupees is EMI, equated monthly installment, to be debited from your account on 2nd of each month. So that is a SI, standing instruction. You give a slip that on 2nd of the month, debit 10,000 rupees to this account, transfer it to this account. That is standing instruction. Then centralized interest application. Yes, this is an improvement over period of time. When I talked about the categories of audit, so we talked about statutory bank branch audit, we talked about concurrent audit, I shared revenue audit, I shared credit audit, I shared stock audit. One word that I shared was revenue audit. Now, revenue audit is also a specialized service that practicing chartered accountants provide to banks. So when you go for revenue audit of a bank, the revenue audit of a bank, what you are basically looking for the credit side of the profit and loss account, and checking whether there is any revenue leakage on the credit side of the profit and loss account. Now, initially 20 years back when we used to go as revenue auditor, we used to found lot of gap in interest charged to advances. But now 20 years after that, because interest charging to advance account has been automated, system driven, so revenue leakage on that aspect is there, but it is reduced in volume to large extent. Anytime, anywhere access, yes. Now banking, I'm not going to my physical branch, I'm accessing my saving bank account through the laptop, I'm delivering this lecture. So it's anywhere. You can sit in a jungle. If the internet is available, you can access your bank account. And multiple channels. Multiple channels means like ATM, net banking, mobile banking, phone banking, branch banking. These are channels of banking which have been created. Real-time seamless merging of data from back office and self-service operations. So most of things are being done on a self basis. Significant reduction in errors, yes, because automation is there. Lot of things are being done in an automated manner in the bank system, and that helps save cost. In fact, in the town I am, and probably the town you are, there are many public sector banks which have opened human less बैंक ब्रांच, ऐसी ब्रांच जिसमें कोई व्यक्ति है ही नहीं. 4 मशीनें लगी. There are 4 machines. One is an ATM, other is a cash deposit machine, third is a passbook printing machine, fourth is this check deposit machine. 90% of all banking operations are these 4. So we have dedicated branches in town where there is no human that is managing it. Reduced operational costs. So it's a banking has revolutionized and it is evolving like anything. Okay. Now, because this topic is completed and we are on time, I'm just refreshing the chat again. Okay. So because chat is not coming, it is 7:15. We are having a break. So 10 minutes break, 7:15 break. Okay, so welcome back after this very necessary tea break that we have. So let me refresh the queries. We have completed a topic. So I'm taking bottom up. Ayush, what is a web-based software? So Ayush, web-based softwares are not directly, but okay, it's part of the discussion itself. Web-based software means which you access through a laptop, desktop by typing the email ID or also typing the domain name. Those are web-based softwares which are available on internet. Okay. Then ECS credit is where the receiver is one, payers are multiple, like mutual funds. Many people subscribe to mutual fund, SIP, systematic investment plan. So those are ECS credit. Payers are more, receiver is one. Receiver is one. Debit, payer is one, receiver is many. Like that happens in case of this dividend payouts by companies. That is. Okay, yeah. Please keep track of banking fraud. See, Pooja, the banking frauds we all need to read. The basic purpose is help us understand the technology related or system related flaw that was there in that banking fraud. Our core purpose has to be learn about the system related issues that arise in any of these banking fraud as the case may be. Yeah, Hiral. So banks now provide multiple authentication for security. Very good. So see, question whether highest or higher, that is a different category. The point is that the more secured the access is, the chances of fraud becomes less, but still frauds do happen. So there's always this fight between the security creators and hackers who wins. But then point is, the more secure your system is, it ensures the hacking chances or loss due to hacking or virus attack is reduced. So that is valid. Cooperative bank. Oh, this is a very different. Okay. This goes beyond the chapter. See, Reserve Bank of, there are Reserve Bank of India's licenses categories. So public sector bank where government is the key shareholder, private sector which are listed and shareholding is with many people. Public sector bank also government has allowed public to hold. Now this concept of cooperative. So cooperative bank basically people come together to create a bank, cooperate. So the core of cooperative bank is people coming together. So what happens, say for example, 10,000 people come together and they say that, okay, we will all contribute, say 10,000 rupees to the corpus of the bank. So 10,000 rupees multiplied by 10,000 people. So 1 lakh, 10 lakh, then 1 crore, 10 crore, probably 100 crores. So 100 crores becomes the corpus of the bank, or 10 crores as the case may be. So now this 10 crore corpus is there. So any person who, not everyone needs advance. Okay. So when these people contribute to the corpus, there are people who, someone wants to start a business. Then he or she wants to take, say, 10 lakh rupees loan. So from this corpus of 10 crore, 10 lakh is given advance to a member of that bank. So cooperative means coming together like this. So people, it's like a piggy bank. अपना गुल्लक होता है, piggy bank, सब पैसे डालते हैं उसमें और जिसको जरूरत होती है उसको एडवांस दे देते हैं. Cooperative bank, the core is that all people there, the account holders, and they are all basically members of that bank. They hold shares in the bank. So that is basically the way cooperative banks work. So who owns the, suppose I ask you this question, who owns the cooperative bank? The members own, who are the depositors and borrowers, they own the bank, like that. So I've answered cooperative bank, good. How much time study the subject? My point is, ours is a king subject. So the more interest is created, the more you are going to study. Just make a comparative analysis between those practical subjects. how much time you give to the practical subject and what is the expected score you want from the subject, how much time you give to this subject and what is the expected score you want from the subject. I've already talked about that. Whatever time you are giving your original calculation, add 2 or multiply by 2 or multiply by 1.5, your score is going to phenomenally improve. And basically, I feel this subject is more looking to the way things are operating. चीजें कैसे हो रही हैं उनको ऑब्जर्व करते रहेंगे, उनको पढ़ते रहेंगे, तो सब्जेक्ट की पढ़ाई अपने आप होती जाएगी, रोज अलग से पढ़ने की जरूरत पड़ेगी नहीं. That is okay. So that is answering all your queries. Thanks. The queries are good. Let us go to the second topic. Components and architecture of core banking system. Within this, we'll be talking about core banking system, its IT environment, the technology component, the functional architecture, the internet banking process, e-commerce transaction processing, case study for deployment, implementation. E-commerce, you have already done much discussion in chapter 4. Okay, Amritpal, I'll try to do that, but not needed beyond that. See, separate hierarchy basically means, so there's a query that what all this core banking is allowed. So it is allowing business to operate separately in operation. So see, when I asked you that when you go to a bank, whatever you do, please document it. So what you're basically doing, getting cash, getting checkbook, getting passbook printed, getting a loan, getting an advance, that you're dealing with the front end. So that is business aspect. The back end is separate. So when you're dealing with the front end, you're not concerned with the operational part, the way it is going. So that is what has been brought due to core banking system. Then the other query was, yeah, the bankers are not, they are selling. Now you have advertisements. See, please understand, productized or commoditized basically means that bankers are able, you see advertisement by public sector, private sector bank that our saving bank deposit earns you 5%, 6%, because Reserve Bank has freed the interest cap on saving bank account. So what does it mean? You can only advertise a product, a commodity, a sellable item. So because of core banking system, because of technology, because of innovation in the business that bankers are doing, they're able to promote. You cannot, what you promote, you're promoting a product. What is the product? A higher interest earning saving bank account, and multiple advertisement by the private bankers, and now public sector banks are also there. So you maintain minimum balance. In the average minimum balance, you get additional rate of interest. That is creating a commodity. That is creating a sellable, like adding USP, unique selling point to your services you are doing. So that is creating a commodity or creating a product out of your services. That is how it is. Okay. Now, components and architecture of core banking system. So core banking system, it's IT environment, that is technology component, functional architecture, internet banking process, e-commerce, case study and implementation. Let us go ahead. Now, these are types of servers. So I've taken the list as it is in the module. Please understand what is a server. So server which has main data, main application, server which is used by the user. So when I say server, that means these are centralized systems which are going to be used by branches, customers, all people across are going to use them. Based on the nature of data, nature of application, nature of service, the server is providing, you give name to server. So when I say database server, it has database. When I say application server, it has application. When I say ATM server, it is helping the ATM machines. Channel, ATM channel, internet banking. So all this, the first word of the server denotes its functionality. Sellable product, Mukta, sellable, which you can market. Sellable means which is marketable, like that, which you can advertise, which you can say, come to our bank, have 1 lakh rupees minimum average balance, we will pay you 6% per annum interest. Generally, bankers pay 4%. we pay 6%. So that is marketability. That is adding a sellability to a product. That is a technology. Hiral, that is technology. We'll try to see, but please take answer to your question is, it is how the technology has been merged. Okay. That is Hiral technology. Okay. So that is plugin modules you add. It is done through technology. We need not understand that part, but take the common word. It is done through technology. Okay. Then these are the names in the module itself. Based on the need, bankers can add more to it. So how does it look like? So client, that is you and me, client, the teller, the automated teller machine, the customer, the channel server, which is providing the service that includes the branch, ATM, voice recognition server, this SMS based. Yes, this is a revolution. Please understand this. I'll be talking about this revolution and keep a tag of this. We want to discuss a topic beyond what is in the module, a banking revolution that is in making. This SMS based banking, UPI. Okay. See, this whole idea about internet, I told you that there are roughly 115 115 करोड़ रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर हैं भारत में. 115 करोड़, 115 crore registered mobile numbers, and most of them are feature phones. Ours is smartphone, Android based, Apple iOS based, or any other OS based. But those are feature phones which work on SMS. So government realized that, see, if we want to enhance mobile banking, have banking at the doorstep of the user, then you cannot do a mandatory net banking. You have to create a SMS bank. That is SMS bank, UPI based. Okay. Phenomenal use of technology. Then, so channel servers which provide this service, the application server, the user. So business intelligence, transaction processing monitors, connecting the host, and host database, where all database is stored. So Oracle database management system, there is SQL database management system. There are multiple examples. So this is how the whole system looks like. Yeah, Hiral, I have answered the question. So please don't, yeah. So it is through technology, okay. Then, technology component of core banking systems. The software resides in centralized application, which is in the central office data center. Now, please understand, the keyword is core banking, so which is centralized at a specific location. So two very good questions. I'll answer them after we complete this part. Okay. The three key technology environment includes database, where all data you deposit, everything. Application. Application is going to access. Look what is there in the database. Security. This is one of the biggest things in banking that we need to talk about. Data center and disaster recovery. Please understand, this is again very, very, very important. Okay, I'll explain. Let me read, then I'll explain each of them again. Online transaction monitoring fraud, fraud risk management. So, database environment where all data is kept, your module, your chapter 3. Application environment which is going to access this database to create reports, to create transactions. Security, very important, both at network level and application level. Now see, when you say security at both level, network means the ATM is connected to central server of the bank. That is network. When you go to a bank, many times you find a placard, bank band hai kyunki network nahi hai. Bank is closed due to non-availability of network. That is network. The connectivity between the bank, the ATM, the bank branch and main server. That is network security. Application security. That is the core banking system. Like we talked about, the cashier can give cash up to 10,000 rupees. So his password, his biometric is only capable of giving 10,000 rupees cash when he logs in through his biometric, his or her biometric to the system. That is application security. Password for core banking is application security. Data center and disaster recovery. Database environment. Database is a server also. That server is kept at a location where the database server is kept. That becomes your data center. Now, we talked about the last day that if backup we talked about, that data center is one location. If my database server is 100 crores and my operations are so tightly integrated that if my data center stops working, my operations stop working, I create a parallel data center. So if my main data center costs me 100 crores, my parallel data center is also going to cost me 100 crores. That parallel data center, which I'm going to use in case of a disaster, is DRC, Disaster Recovery Center, where I'm going to work once disaster occurs. Online transaction monitoring for fraud risk management. So banks have dedicated staff, dedicated application to keep a tag of whether this is fraud. Specialized reports are generated in banking system indicating possibility of fraud. They indicate that the fraud may be there. What banker is supposed to see, what auditor is supposed to see, whether there is a fraud in that application or not. Then, when you talk of all this, the architecture, the core of architecture is flow of information, how it is traveling. It is customer centric. So whatever banks do today, they look to customer, how to give better service to customer, how to have better customer relationship management, how to respond to customer's query, like that. So all things are customer centric, and whatever you create, it has to be regulatorily compliant. I'll come to regulatory compliance with a good example. You know, this someone talked about that when you log into bank, there's whole concept of, so when I log into my bank account through net banking, so I'm sharing what is the steps. So I have to give my user ID, then a password. Then it has a CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA we all know. So it has a query. So I have to add two numbers or identify highest, lowest from a given set of numbers. I enter that. If it is validated, then I get an OTP on my mobile to log in. So with these three steps, I log into system. Then I am making a payment. So when I make a payment, I have to give another password that is other than the login password called as transaction password, another OTP. All this is basically regulatory compliance by RBI. RBI has mandated that what level of structure has to be done in net banking or credit card, debit card payments, like OTP has been mandated whenever you make an online payment. So all this is regulatory compliance. Then resource optimization. Resource optimization means better use of available resource. So these aspects are built into core banking system. Now we are changing a topic. Let us go back to your queries. Yeah. So difference between teller and customer is teller is a bank employee and customer is the user of it. Okay. So the cashier. So it's a good question, Mukta, to learn. The cashier who gives you 10,000 rupees immediately as soon as you give a withdrawal slip, cashier validates your signature, your balance in the bank account give you. So that cashier is acting like a teller. And that is why the machines that you see, the name of the machine is automatic teller machine. We never realized why it is called as automatic teller machine. So teller was a designation to a person who can give you cash based on pre-authorization. So now those machines are basically called as automatic teller machine. So teller was a designated job profile of an individual in a bank, that is teller. Then, yes, this is a good question, Akash Neil. This ATM switch, I must answer this question. Now see, today, as I know best, there are roughly 250,000 ATMs across India. 250,000, and the figure is updated daily. So you can improve upon my answer. Let us take 250,000 as an example. So 250,000 ATMs are there in India, and there are say 50 banks, public sector bank, private sector bank, cooperative banks, multi-state cooperative banks. These are all have their customers who have got their ATM debit cards. Now, you realize that in Since before 10 years back, if you wanted, suppose as an example, I'm carrying a State Bank of India debit card. I have a saving bank account in State Bank of India, and I'm traveling to Mumbai. I want to withdraw cash through an ATM. So 10 years back or 15 years back, I had to search for a State Bank of India ATM to withdraw money. But today, any debit card I carry, I can withdraw money from any bank ATM. In fact, uh, we traveled to Sikkim sometime. So I saw there. So I'm sharing like that. There are companies which are only running ATMs. The company is not a bank. It is only running ATM. So these are because, so suppose I'm carrying a State Bank of India card and I'm traveling to Sikkim, Gangtok, and there is this company running only ATM. I withdraw cash from that company's ATM. This ATM company charges some amount to my bank, say 10 rupees, 15 rupees per transaction. So this is the revenue model of this ATM service providing company. So we have this dedicated ATM service providing company also now. So what is the transaction? There are ATMs of banks across India. There are multiple banks which have issued debit cards to their customer. Now we want to learn what is ATM switch. There is a organization, if you want to carry the name, please carry. It is called it National Payment Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL. National Payment Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL. Now what this NPCIL has done, it has connected itself to all the bank's servers. Connected itself to all the bank servers. Okay. Which bank which have issued debit card to their customer. So this NPCIL has all data about customer balances. And banks are also connected. So it's a two-way traffic. All these ATMs, 250,000 ATMs are connected to this NPCIL network. Now see how does it, it's a three-layered structure. You have banks ATM here, banks database here. On top of it, you have NPCIL, which is connected to bank database, and 250,000 ATMs are connected to NPCIL. So it's a three-layered structure. Now any customer withdrawing any money from any bank ATM, it's a valid transaction. This capability that NPCIL is created through something that is called as ATM switch. So slightly technical, but if you want to remember, please remember. So ATM switch is basically an enabler that allows any bank debit card customer to withdraw cash from any other bank. You can write this, and the service provider, the technology enabler is NPCIL, National Payment Corporation of India Limited. That is how it is. Okay, so Mansha, you are correct. So please carry that with you. Then, yeah, point of sale. So it's a valid word. I'll answer that. Yeah, proxy servers are Hiral, which behave like servers. So they create additional capabilities. Okay, so which behave like servers. They create additional capabilities. And point of sale. Point of sale is you go to any departmental store, any shop, which has that switch where you swipe your card. Those are called as point of sale terminals, POS, on which you can swipe the card. Now you have this touch enabled, Wi-Fi enabled card. So you can touch them and then make a payment. That's okay. So let us go to the next topic, that is functional architecture of core banking system. It's a detailed diagram to review from the module. So let me go to the module. I'm just refreshing the chat. If yeah, all answered. Great. So let us go to the module. So what I'll do, I'll just allow you to see the full chat and then I'll bring it in breaks and then we'll discuss. Okay. So functional architecture of a core banking system. So it has parts. So I'll break it in 3 parts and we'll discuss. Okay. So if you see, so I'll not be defining them. The green, enterprise CRM, product factory, services, reusable, accounting, backbone, infrastructure. Okay. So this is one part. Then the operational part. Origination, marketing, sales, service, interaction, communications, knowledge base. These are reports, 360-degree view. Then customer information. So customer banking, let me make it large. Yeah. Customer banking, you have saving bank we talked about, term deposit, retail loan, mortgages, then corporate banking, current account, overdraft. So these words are technical. Okay, just keep the words as they are. Okay. Then wealth management solutions, high net worth individual we talked about, trade finance. So this is how these are functionally the services which banks are providing. Okay. So each topic is detailed. Right now, the core idea is to know that these are the functions which the banker is providing. Okay. So let us read. So core banking solution is enterprise resource planning software. See the definition. I told you that you can remember core banking solution as a banking ERP. So it's written of a bank. It covers all aspects of banking operation from a macro to micro perspective and covers entire gamut of banking services ranging from front office to back office operations, transactions and at counters, online transactions up to general ledger and reporting as required. CBS, core banking system, is modular in nature, is generally implemented for all functions for core functions as decided by bank. So that is core banking system for a bank. Then internet banking process. So steps, we'll take a fast view of steps from the module, internet banking process. Okay. You all know it, huh? There's nothing that is new. In fact, I've tried to ensure that whatever topic we discuss, it comes with your knowledge. So everything you know. Okay. So I've shared this. Just go through it. Okay. I'll just highlight few words. So the line I highlight, I'll explain you why it is so important. Whenever you get log into your bank account first time, the password that has originally given to you by the bank, you change it. Why? Because that has been given by a third person. In fact, if you have seen the way banks give you your password, so it is reasonably secured. There is that QR type code, and it is type in, and then you have to tear it out and see the typed password that is not visible. So, in fact, when the password is generated in bank system, no one knows what is being typed because no one can visibly see it. But because it is a password generated by third system at a third location, you must change it for the first time. Again, secure it. Then internet facility could be used only by accessing the website of the bank. Yes. For accessing website, a browser. So you access it through a browser. User is directed to a web server. Yes. Then, so web server means you log in and you go to a web server which providing this online banking services. Then, so I'll just take the keywords, which you need to remember, which adds to the discussion. Rest is written, so I'm not reading what is written, but a word is written that web server needs to have a firewall. What is a firewall? So it's written, the firewall is designed in such a fashion that only traffic addressed to the web server goes through it. So hackers cannot enter. So firewall is basically a security technique, security device. Okay. Then you access once allowed. Then once you have there, the whatever information is needed is displayed. Yes, whenever you type a password, you don't see it physically. It comes as asterisks or dots because people can see passwords. Then it forwards to two different servers. It gets information. If you give password 3 times incorrect, then your password may be permanently blocked. Then you have to open it through a separate process. So this is for security. Once everything is done, you gain. Customer chooses one of the service. So there's list. You want to see balance, request for a checkbook, transfer, and there are multiple tens and fifties and hundreds of services now you can do on online. Whatever is allowed. The internet banking channel server will retrieve data from database and that service will be provided to you. So this is how exactly it goes. Okay. That is internet banking service. Then e-commerce transaction processing. Let me go to your query. Prabhas, that may not be needed. Your definition is correct, but not needed. Okay. That we discussed was sufficient. Captcha is well defined, Prabhas. Okay, great. Now, e-commerce transaction processing. Yes. So now, before we read, there are multiple ways of making payment on e-commerce. You've read in your chapter 4. So, which is the most used? Say on so I'm giving only 3 options. Okay. One is payment wallet like Paytm, PhonePe. So payment wallet is one option. Second option is debit card, credit card, and third is COD, cash on delivery. Which of the 3 is most used in e-commerce transaction? Of the 3, you have to select one. Payment wallet, credit debit card, or COD, that is cash on delivery. Which you say is the most used? Okay. So you have already gone through in much detail in your chapter 4. So now I'm not detailing this here. No, of the Himanshu, the 3 option I gave, you have to select from that. Okay. So Pooja says Paytm and Himanshu says UPI. Okay, let us take it. Good. UPI is the turnover of UPI that is generating is phenomenal. Okay. But okay, from the 3 options, so in e-commerce, cash on delivery had been a preferred mode before COVID. Now the status must have changed. That is subject to an update. So e-commerce transaction, you have learned a lot. So I'm not bringing anything on e-commerce in today's discussion right now. This is important. This is important because 6 and 7, I see opportunity for you as once you become chartered accountant. So I want you to do it. Okay. So now many of you have answered. Akash Nil says COD, Pooja says debit card, Himanshu also says debit cards, Jayant also says debit cards means debit credit card. Then Hitesh says one option Hitesh. So I'll take Paytm payment wallet. And then Pooja is giving a staggered answer. First cards, then cash on delivery. Okay. So let us take it. Case for deployment, case study. This is good. Now, claps for you. We have scored 200 in the chat box. Good. Case study on deployment. So this is a professional opportunity for you once you become chartered accountant. Okay. Put yourself into it. Okay. So we'll go to the module. Now, please understand that who is going to do it? Okay, like 25 years back, I said to you that before this whole idea about core banking system came up, there was this concept of total branch automation. So there were few branches, they were manual, few which had system, but it was not centralized. So these all were converted into core banking system. So that is that phase you are looking at, implementation of core banking system. So first at the top, let us understand who is going to do it. Okay. So answer this question. Suppose I am a bank. I don't have a centralized system and as a banker, I decide that I want a core banking system. Who in the bank, please name that body in the bank, who is going to decide that we want to go for core banking system? Please understand. Let us add more lines to what is given. So first talk about who is going to decide it. First question. Second, what the question you are answering is that implementation is going to be decided by whom? Who is going to say that we need to go for core banking system? First. Second, once you decide that who is going to implement, then you need to understand that you cannot do, I don't know it, I am not intelligent, then I will need some help from someone who is going to tell me. I have at least 3 examples I have shared. There are more in the module of core banking system. So which core banking system is good for me? So I may require help of a consultant. So I may require an expert to help me do it. So expert is going to help me identify which core banking system is suited for me as an organization. If that expertise is not internally available, so I am a banker, I don't have core banking system, there is a chance that I may not have that expertise. So I may hire the expertise. Once that expertise is hired, then as a banker, I can develop my own core banking system or buy out. Please understand the way things are today. No banker is going to do in-house unless your asset under management, you have 1 lakh crores of asset, and then only you start developing your own core banking system. Okay. Updates have to be done. RBI compliances have to be done. So bankers will prefer a available core banking system. Once you have selected a core banking system or decided to develop, if you decide to develop, you create a team for development. Once you have created to buy out, then you go to the vendor, have presentations, buy that, develop it. Once bought or developed, test whether it is as per your requirement, and then implement. That is implementation of core banking system. So I was waiting for your answer. Let us see. CEO of a bank, that is by Pooja, and Gehani says management. Good. So the best answer would be board of directors, not an individual's decision. See, please understand, what is the decision? The decision to being taken is we want a core banking system. We are not deciding which core banking system. We are first deciding we want a core banking system. Collective decision by the governing board or the board of directors or group of top management, senior management deciding that we want a core banking system. Then you go ahead with that. Now, planning for implementing CBA should be done as per strategic and business objectives. Top management, strategic decision making. Good. Business, yes, this is very good. What category of business you want to get into? Like Reserve Bank of India in last 10 years has got very specialized licenses to banks. So RBI has given license to bank to act as a payment bank. RBI has given license to bank to act as a small bank. There are already public sector bank. You talked about cooperative bank. There is a concept of private sector bank. There is a concept of scheduled bank. So these categories are there. So once you decide that now you want to have core banking system, you need to see what you want to achieve. Just as an example, I am a small cooperative bank or a public sector bank, and I want internet banking to be there. I want mobile banking to be there. I want SMS banking to be there. I want voice-based banking to be there. So if I want all categories of channels of banking to be provided to my customer, what it means, the core banking solution, the core banking software, the core banking system I am going to select must have all those modules. Then only I can provide that service. Have I put it correctly? That you are looking at. So business objectives. Okay. So when you go for core banking system implementation, the top management has to decide what has to be done, how you are going to do it. Then decision to implement core banking systems require huge investment and recurring costs and impact the banking service. See, it comes in the second line. We talked in the first line, board of directors. So this has to be a core decision by board of directors. minutes have to be written, resolution has to be passed, and then action has to be taken. Then we talked about multiple CBS core. So which one you want to have? Although there are multiple vendors of CBS available, each solution has key differentiator. What will be the differentiator? The nature of business, the nature of transactions, the nature of channels of banking, a core banking system will provide. Which core banking system you are going to select will depend on your requirement. Very, very important. You can design your own, develop, or you can buy. Whatever you do, it has to be as per your requirement, and all controls needed have to be put in place. Very, very, very important. See, I said before implementing what you do, testing. Whether the system is working properly or not. That testing is done. And once that is done, you go for implementation. This is a professional opportunity I'm sharing. Don't feel bad or nothing to feel like that we are once you become chartered accountants, once you get the qualification, believe me, this is again going to be a value added service that you are going to provide. So what are the steps? Planning, approval, selection, design, development, procurement, testing, implementation, and maintenance. Maintenance, it has to work like that. Now, see, maintenance is very important. Huh? I am asking two words. Try to answer in percentage. In bank, there is a concept of SLR, statutory liquidity ratio, and there is a concept of CRR, cash reserve ratio, cash requirement ratio. So what is the present SLR or CRR which is mandated by Reserve Bank of India to be maintained by all banks? SLR CRR requirement. Okay. Then you answer that. By the time you answer, let us read the other words. So once you answer the CRR SLR requirement, I'll come to maintenance part. Support. Support means if you have procured the core banking system, the vendor will provide you support. If you have developed, then you create a separate support team in your organization. Then updates have to be there. Yes, so updates will be forced by regulatory changes. Updates may be forced by additional business service you are providing. So till now you implemented core banking system, you decided that you are not going to have mobile banking. But within 1 year, you realize that many of your customers are asking you to provide mobile banking. Get an update, get a module for mobile banking, plug into your core banking system, start doing it, and audit. What we are basically looking at is from an auditor's perspective, how it is going to be audited. So very, very important. Great. So I've got SLR, CRR, so 18% and 4%. Cash requirement ratio is 4% and SLR is 18%. Reserve Bank of India just recently, they quarterly review, they change it. So whenever they change it, you require system to be updated. That is updation. That is needed. Okay. So that is how systems work. Okay. So G, Monica, Siddhant, Pansha, Raghavan, Gehani, Himanshu, they have answered. And then, okay. So once we complete that, there is a query, I'll answer that query. That is implementation. Let us go back. So this live implementation was the way we were discussing. Okay. Then implementation of core banking system. So introduction and steps to implementation. Okay. We've talked about this: planning, approval, selection, design, development, procurement, testing, and implementation. Maintenance, support, updation, and audit. So we have talked about it. That is main topic 2 goes. Let us have your query. There's one query I need to answer. Great, Prabhas. Fantastic. So this core banking implementation, would it be similar to business process automation? The answer is yes. Okay, so I answered that. So all queries answered. Great. Then the last topic for the day, that is core banking system risk, security and control. Let us see how much we can do. We'll not hurry because we have to do MCQs also today. Okay. Risk associated with core banking system, the concept of security policy and internal control system in bank. So this topic is phenomenal. Each risk that is written is at least a 1 hour lecture. Please understand. Each risk that you read is at least a 1 hour lecture. Okay. And we need to read it in one line. Okay. So this is phenomenal. Please understand what you are looking at. So let me read the headers. Operational risk, credit risk, market risk, and IT risk will be discussing in some more detail. Okay. Now, operational risk arises from transaction processing risk, information security risk, legal risk, compliance risk, people risk. I don't know whether you know it. When this 25/30 years back, this bank's core banking solution was started as a process. So bank employees felt then that if everything will be automated and computers will be put in place, so those bank employees who are not having knowledge about computer, bank may ask them to leave. So there was a strike call. I don't recall whether there was a strike, actual strike, but there was a strike call against this process of core banking solution, because there was an apprehension in the mind of the employees of the bank that because computer is new for everyone, they may be asked to leave the job. So that risk, and it was a genuine risk. But then a very good solution was found, a very good settlement was done, that government, Reserve Bank, Indian Bankers Associations and employees, they came together and they formulated that technology is a need of the hour. We need to have it. Banks are not going to ask employees to leave, but bank is going to train the people so that they can use computer. Everyone agreed and it went fantastic. That is the last from operational risk, people risk. So if you put technology in place and person who is going to use it, he or she is not able to use for whatever reason, that creates a people risk. Compliance risk. Okay. You answer this question, then I'll come to compliance risk again. Legal risk and compliance risk, if I read, which auditing standard I am reading? Legal risk and compliance risk, if I read, which auditing standard I am reading? Please answer that. Then information security risk, which is phenomenal, this hacking, virus attack on bank. Please find time to read this Cosmos Bank fraud. It was information security risk. And transaction processing risk is transactions don't go as per the requirement of law. That is. Then credit risk. Credit risk is more in nature of a business risk. The person who have been advanced, so that risk. Market risk, like this today's situation, when this big war in Europe is going on and no one knows when it is going to end. No one knows whether it will be restricted to 2 countries or it may expand. No one knows it. That is what comes from market risk. Strategic risk comes from the decision, like we talked about, the decision to be taken by board of directors, that which core banking system they want to implement. That decision is source of strategic risk. Okay. I'm waiting for your answer. On line 1. That is, which auditing standard when we read this legal and compliance risk? Okay. So it is standard on auditing 250, compliance with other laws and regulations. So that becomes a risk if your system is not compliant. So just understand all this risk is there to any core banking system. IT risk has been brought in detail. So once complete business is captured by technology and processes are automated in core banking system, the data center of the bank, the customer management staff are completely dependent. Yes, we have already talked about this, that if system stops, bank stop. Network stop, bank stop. Server breakdown is not going to happen. It is a very rare event. But even if rare, but it can happen. Server breakdown, bank stop. That is the risk. Now, SA 250, yes, Prabhas, good. So Hiral is putting good questions. Hiral, you've got a good question, I'll answer that. Okay. Now, some of the common IT risk relating to core banking systems are owners who owns data, authorization and authentication processes for that. This is someone did. I think this question was asked more than once, that how third-party systems. So see, this is a concept of plug-in. So bankers create system where a system can plug in, additional modules can be plugged in, but because their logics platforms may be different, so that creates a risk. Okay. Then response time managing, user identity who logs on to system. Someone did question. Someone said that this login procedures is authenticated. Yes. Access control, incident handling. Something happens, how to respond. Change management, how to change systems. Okay. Now we have good queries, so let me answer them. Disgruntled corporate customer. So there are three words, Hiral. Customer, you understand. Second word is corporate customer. So corporate and normal. Corporate means it may be a company that is dealing with a bank. So when company deals with a bank, company has current account with a bank, company may have a loan account. So corporate customer. So it's a company that is customer. Disgruntled. So disgruntled means one who has complained against the service provider. So disgruntled corporate customer will be a customer, a company customer who has complained against the bank for whatever reasons. Okay. Then Mansha, difference between data center and database server. A good question. So please understand, data center will include the physical aspects also, means the building also. Okay, everything, including the database server. So if you want to draw down which is bigger, the answer will be data center will be bigger. Okay. So database server may be subset of a data center. That is how you remember. A good question. Now, security policy. Every bank must have defined security policy. Okay. Who creates security policy? Top management. Who is the creator of security policy? Top management is creator. Okay. As per ISO 27001, the policy must address these 10 chapters. Basic policy, user security administration, application security, database security, network security, physical, OS, operating system security, and physical is repeating. Okay. Network security. All this, you must have a security policy. Within this sub-chapters. And within this, just for example, application security. Within application security, you have a password policy. That for all application, what is the password combination? Alphabet, alphanumeric with special character, alphanumeric with capital character, alphanumeric with special character and a capital character. Then a password has to be changed 30 days. So within this, another policy framework. So detailed topic. So let us read the table from the module. I'll bring that. Yeah. So they have given sample risk and controls that can be put in place against that. That is that table. Okay. So please go through this table, come with questions. Then it's a big topic, internal control system in bank. So internal controls in bank at configuration level, master transaction report level, and core banking system and risk and control. So this will be taking on the next day. Let us have the MCQ now because that is the time we have. Answer. Then I'll just go through the queries. Nexus between front and no. Okay, nexus is a word. Hiral, you link it. Nexus is a word, you link it. Then Saipa talks about what is Islamic banking. See, banking that is done as per the tenets of Islamic law. That is Islamic banking. Okay. Now, so let me refresh and you start answering the question. So question, answer to this. Question 1. So I intentionally this time ensured that MCQs are not shared to you. Let us have a online session for MCQ. 1B. So first answer is there by Raghavan. Great. So let us go to the next question. So now you, those who are answering, say 1B, 2B, like that. Next question. Oh, sorry. So question second I have answered. So I'm skipping second, coming to third. Sorry. So now you answer third one. Okay, third you have answered. Let me just bring it. Yes, IMPS. So most of you have answered second also correctly and third also correctly. Great. Fourth. So fourth may be tough. Answer will help you identify the definition. I can give you a hint. Someone did ask about this in the chat. I explained it separately. So our score on chat is 250 plus. Great. So I'm just scrolling the chat to see if there is an answered query. I think Amritpal, TT is telegraphic transfer. Amritpal. Proxy server. So that is a definition. Please carry it. Someone did ask. A server offering computer network service to allow clients to make indirect network connection to other network. Just carry this definition. No technicalities to be added. Very good question. Take your time. Because so many of you are answering correctly, I am not able to read all of your name, but yeah, the answers are generally correct. Okay, we'll come back to that, Mansha, again. I'll answer your query, Mansha. Yeah. So let us answer question 5, then we'll come back to your query. Pooja is asking, sir, why not e-chocolates today? But we are already having, so I started with e-chocolate, Pooja, you were late. Our e-chocolates have gone. First was by to Hitesh and Suvarnesh because they logged in before 6. I started with e-chocolates today. So answer question 5. Yeah. Let us see. I read, huh? I'll allow you to update. A bank has updated its existing core banking system to a new version. It found that the new system is not automatically sending monthly bank statement to its customer. The same feature was available in the previous system. This error is result of mistake in which step? Design. Great. I think this will require e-chocolate. Who have said design? Akashnil and Kiran. Yes. And this we experienced this clubbing of those 3 public sector bank into single bank. We are still facing that issue. It was a design issue. Now that one question that I need to answer is, yeah, so let me bring that. ECS debit and credit. Just give me a second. Yeah. So here we are. I have brought the module. ECS credit, number of beneficiary accounts are credited by debiting a particular bank account. Okay. Okay. So the answer changes to that question. Okay, good. Thank you. So ECS credit includes payment of dividend and debit includes large amount of with banks are debited for credit to a single account, like ECS debit includes tax collection or mutual fund collection. So that is ECS debit and credit. Great. So any more query? So that is for the day. We have scored 300 in the chat. Good. Design. Good. So that is for the day. So we want to end this session. Just 30 seconds for you to ask any query and then we'll end it. Yes, yes. So that you get correct here. Good. Thank you. So that is we can learn. Great. So we call the day. We want to close the batch. Thank you. Closing. Yes.